by the city, right? The one that used to be Coral Gables Fair, Luna Vista, right? Okay.
Ready to start? Good evening. Welcome to the City of West Miami's Planning and Zoning Board meeting of August 24th, 2021. Members present are Natalia Milian. Say the, well, Natalie, I'm sorry, Natalie. Also present is Gilberto Gonzalez, present as well, Alvaro Lurido. Juan Pena, Planning and Zoning Director, is present. Also, Jose Villalobos, our City Attorney. And it is 7:37 p.m. for the record. Mr. Pena?
First order of business on your agenda tonight is, everybody that will be testifying will raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
First item on your agenda is the minutes from April 27th, 2021, which have been going around now for a couple of meetings because the
Well,
people that were...
Actually, this was last meeting, Mr. Penna. We did approve the April 27, but we're going to have to defer this since only 2 members were present at that meeting
Okay,
that are presently here.
all right. Then the other approval is the minutes from the 7/27/2021.
Okay, on that one, we're going to have to defer as well.
Okay?
So, Mr. Chairman, for the record, we're deferring April 27 and July 27.
Yes, I
lack
misspoke
of a-
saying
all
the
right.
April was approved. It was not. My mistake. So we are deferring both since we only have 2 members in each meeting that were present then that are present today.
Okay. Then first item on the old business is various agenda item number 1, 1401 Southwest 58th Avenue, Anthony Verona. Applicant is requesting a variance to build a swimming pool and a pool house cabana in the front zone setback of the property. The swimming pool is, if granted, would be 15 feet by 25 feet with a front exterior side setback of 15 feet and a front zone setback of 10 feet. The pool house, if granted, would be 20 feet by 20 feet with an interior setback of 10 feet and a front setback of 10 feet. The previous variance for the aluminum patio was granted, and if this is approved, then that one will be rescinded. The property is normal shape, and the original house was placed further back than setback requirements on both sides of the side setbacks.
Okay, thank you. And as I recall, we had asked that they submit more complete plans, which you have. Thank you very much, sir. If you could name and address for the
Lower the
record.
mic so you...
Hi, Anthony Verona, 1401 Southwest 58th Avenue. So I submitted the plans. I mean, is there any questions?
I
Based
don't
on-
believe, the only issue we had at that time is we wanted to see elevations of the actual cabana, and they've been submitted. I don't know, is this a public hearing, Mr. Pena?
It's a variance hearing, yes,
So it's a public hearing.
yes.
If any members want to ask any additional questions regarding this
May I,
item?
Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
My only question is that the pool is going to be facing 14th Street, right?
Correct.
And you don't have any way to provide fencing there or hedges or something?
We do
For your
have,
privacy, I mean, I don't mind, but
we do have existing chain link fence. I just planted cherry hedges right now, so I still have, it's gonna take me some time to get the final drawing and everything, so I don't think we'll be starting until obviously the hedges do grow taller. I agree with you.
okay. Mr. Pena, the height of that hedges shall have to be 4 feet, correct?
At the present time.
At the present time?
At the last meeting, we discussed allowing them to go to 5.
Right, I
Go to
understand
5.
that, right. All right.
Okay, and this is a public hearing, so we'll open up the public hearing. If anybody from the public wishes to address the issue, please approach the podium. Okay, let the record reflect nobody chose to speak, so the public hearing is now closed. It is 7:44 p.m. Okay, does anybody have any other comments? And what you have, Mr. Verona, is a chain link fence, correct?
Correct, sir.
Existing.
Existing.
Correct.
And it's in good condition? and-
Yeah, it's brand new. I actually replaced it when we redid our driveway about 3 years ago.
And if this is approved, you will be, you won't be proceeding with the prior variance you received regarding the little canopy on,
Correct, sir.
okay? All right.
For the record, we notify 500 radius feet around the property of this hearing tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, I see the fence there in the picture, the Google picture.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we discussed this pretty at length with, I believe it was your wife that was
Correct.
here before you. And again, what we asked were elevations for the cabana,
He complied with it.
and they complied. They actually submitted a pretty full set of plans. I don't see anything, any issues with this. Does anybody have any comments or motions?
No, Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion to approve the plans and the variance as.
May I, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir?
You want to ask whether or not there's anyone else that wants to address the meeting at this point?
Oh, I did with the public hearing,
Mhm.
Okay.
and nobody chose, but if anybody wants to speak, they're certainly welcome to it. But we did close the public, opened and closed
And you
it.
closed
Thank
it.
you.
So I reinstate my motion to approve the plans as submitted. Mr. Chairman?
Okay, there's a motion. Any second?
I second.
Okay, on the motion, Natalie Milian,
Yes.
Alvaro Lorido,
Yes?
Gilberto Gonzalez?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so it's been approved, sir. And
Thank
thank you for last meeting and this meeting. Thank you for your due diligence.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is new business, public hearing. Agenda item number 1, property address 6050 Southwest 11th Street, special use permit 2021-003, Frank Valero at 6050 Southwest 11th Street. Applicant is requesting a special use permit for the renovation of the property located at 6050 Southwest 11th Street, West Miami, Florida, providing for a 2-story addition and reconstruction of the existing house for a proposed new residence containing 2,620 square feet. Property is a single-family home with 2 bedrooms and 1 bath. The new addition will provide for 3 bedrooms, 3 baths. Property is zoned residential single-family, special use permit index, 2021-003.
Okay, welcome.
Good
Go
evening.
ahead.
Hi.
Name and address for the record.
Yes, my name is Adriana Guerra, and the address is 6050 Southwest 11th Street, West Miami, Florida, 33144.
And Ms. Guerra, you are the,
Architect?
okay?
This was already, had already gone through. There was one request. We have a balcony. It's actually a terrace over the existing garage. And over the terrace, we were requested because it's a terrace balcony area looking over to place, and you'll see there in the elevations, on the side elevation, the revision that we did here, that we have added louvers, because we've got louvers through other areas in the residence. So we've placed some louvers on the sides at the top that are going to be 6 feet high, and they're going to be a continuation of what we've got in other areas of the residence. And this will allow for some privacy to overlooking side properties. So that's what we're here for.
That's on page A3.
That's correct, sir. A3 and also A4, because we've got the other side elevation there too.
Correct.
And Mr. Pena, the louvers will comply with the zoning code, correct?
Yes, no view to the side property or rear property.
It doesn't have to be solid, louvers
No.
will work. Okay. And you mentioned that was the only issue from the last, you were here before.
No, this is my first time here.
Oh, this is the
okay.
first time?
Yes, sir.
Special use permit, and it's a
Okay.
public hearing.
And There's no variances,
No.
nothing that needed for this development,
No,
proposed
the rest of the
development.
property meets the ordinance as provided on 9901.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, this is also a public hearing, Mr. Penna?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and open up the public hearing. If anybody from the audience wishes to speak, perhaps is there a way, Mr. Penna, that they can see the proposed addition? And 'cause I know there's a few neighbors here. I have to commend you. This looks like a really nice design.
Oh, thank you.
May I, Mr. Chairman?
Sure, sure.
This gonna be, the new constructions will be a 3-bedroom place, right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
My only question is, only one parking space?
Yes, it is his parking space. He's got the garage and then the parking space in the front, the driveway in the front.
It actually has for 2 vehicles. which
One
is
in the
what-
garage.
All
What's
right,
required by
okay.
code.
Mhm.
Yes, please,
Sure.
at the podium. Name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Vivian Castañon Rivero. I lived in 6031 Southwest 12th Street, and it's almost right behind the house, and I do have a pool in my house. So my concern would be the privacy, my privacy, as having somebody behind me with a balcony. I'm not right in the rear, I'm next to the one right in the rear. I'm 6031.
Please address yourself to the board, please.
I'm sorry.
Yes, sorry.
My bad.
That's okay.
I'm on 6031 12th Street. I'm not right behind it, I'm next to it. And I do have a pool.
Correct.
So the balcony. This is the back of the house, and I'm on the left, yes.
Okay. That's the area that the louvers have been placed so that there's no visual sight to the
Okay.
back.
All right, that was my concern.
There's
the
none
privacy.
from the side and none from the rear.
Okay, that was all. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Correct? Correct, Ms. Guerra?
Yes, that's correct, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Does anybody else from the public wish to speak on this item?
Okay.
No?
Nobody else? Okay.
Okay, so we'll be closing the public
Thank you.
hearing. It is 7:52 PM.
Again, for the record, we notified 500 radius feet around the property.
Any questions, comments from the board? No?
Don't look at me, you can propose it too.
No.
No, I wanted to ask, so this is currently a one-story house
Yes.
That's
being
correct.
converted into a two-story?
Uh-huh.
And there's also, is the setback being extended also?
All setbacks are being met.
They're in
They're
accordance?
existing.
Oh, they're existing. okay.
And in compliance, and
Correct.
there's no variance required or needed. They're going to meet the existing setback requirements,
Okay,
the zoning code. So it does meet that.
okay, yeah, because I share the concern of the resident who's here with getting too close to the neighbor's houses can be uncomfortable,
Sure.
so.
No, on the contrary, this is one of the nicer ones because it will be 39 feet away from the rear property line.
Okay,
They're not building to the back, they're building up.
thank you.
Yes, they could still build a little more if they wanted to, but chose not to and have more of a backyard.
And the louvers makes the difference for the
For
privacy.
the privacy.
Right. So,
I make a motion to approve.
I second it. Thank you.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. On the motion, Natalie Milian,
Yes.
Gilberto Gonzalez.
Yes.
Alvaro Laredo.
Yes.
And I vote yes, so it's been approved. Thank you.
Again, the second round will be at the City Commission. Ms. Guerra? The second meeting will be at the City Commission on the date specified, which I believe was September, I don't remember off the top of my head. It's in the notice. 13? Okay. 15, September 15, at 7:30 also. Next item on your agenda tonight is a variance hearing. Property address is 6511 Southwest 19th Street. Eric Blanco. Applicant is requesting a variance to build a swimming pool within the required 7.5 feet side setback and the rear 15 feet of the rear setback of the property. The pool, if allowed, would have a side setback at a given point of 5 feet to the side property line where 7.5 is required, and 7 feet to the rear property line where 10 is required. That's a typo, sorry. The property is an interior lot, zoning ordinance 282, section 4, section 11. Mr. Blanco, name and address for the record.
First off, good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Chairman
Of course.
and board members. My name is Eric Blanco, and I
Good
live
to
at
see you.
6511 Southwest 19th Street. And we're requesting, oh, sorry. So we'll try that again. Okay, good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. My name is Eric Blanco, and I live at 6511 Southwest 19th Street. And we're requesting a variance to build a pool, as you just stated. The only place we can build something which is significant in size, and not just a little splash pool, is that corner. So that's why we're requesting that variance, so we can tuck it in on the northeast side of that way we kind of maintain a yard and an area outside, and it gives us like the maximum size of a pool. Get something, not a standard size pool, it's just slightly under, and it can have the features that we want. So it's gonna be an area that, our kids will enjoy. And it also creates kind of some sound deadening and blocking, even though we don't have much noise here where we live. It's going to have a little fountain feature, a little splash zone for the kids, and the steps are actually like sitting areas. So that was like an optimized design that we came up with along with the pool designers, and I think it's going to add to our enjoyment and our neighbors.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Mr. Penna, this is also a public hearing, correct?
Yes, for the record, we notify 500 radius feet around the property of the same hearing tonight.
Okay, the public hearing is now open. Anybody that wishes to speak on the item?
I told all my neighbors before about the design plans. They were all ahead, and some of them even asked me, do I need to come? And I said, I'm not sure. This is the first for me. But everybody's in agreement, everybody around me.
Okay,
I know
well,
that for
I'm
sure.
going to close the public hearing since there's nobody in the audience to speak on this issue other than yourself. So the public hearing is now closed. It is 7:57 for the record.
As long as you invite them all.
That's the plan, yeah. We're
Yeah.
gonna have a big, like a block party.
And I see the city recommends approval. And Mr. Penna, can you elaborate about maintaining the 5-foot setback from the rear? That just means no added improvements in the future, no
Now,
slab?
maintaining the 5-foot setback from the house entrance, the building.
From the house entrance, okay.
Correct, right, the splash pool area there, where
Yes.
the little umbrella's shown,
Yes.
that's shown at a 5-foot setback. We want them to maintain that.
Right, that, we designed it, actually drew the plan myself on AutoCAD. I know a little bit of drawing, and then we kind of work with the pool designer to do it. And right, that's where it's very tight, and that way we can maneuver in and out, and it's safe for everybody.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, comments from the board? No? Any motions?
I make a motion to approve with the recommendations from the planning and zoning chair, recommendations on the to maintain a 5-foot setback from the house wall as required.
Okay, there's a motion.
Second?
Okay, and a second. On the motion, Natalie Milian,
Yes.
Gilberto Gonzalez.
Yes.
Alvaro Lorido.
Yes.
And I vote yes, so it's been approved, sir.
Thank you so much for
Thank
making
you.
our dreams come true. We're a step closer, so we'll have a pool by next summer. or
And you
before.
know where to get us, so you can invite us too.
You
for
are all
your
invited.
Pool
I'll-
party.
I know how to reach you, so that's for sure.
Just kidding. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, next item, Mr. Pena. Is that it?
So I make a motion to adjourn?
No, no, no.
You
You
say
got more
yes.
work to do.
Oh, I didn't hear you. I thought you said yes.
No. Agenda item number 3 is the discussion of review of ordinances remanded by the city commission to the zoning board for possible action. Now I need a 5 minute to distribute. Huh? Sure.
I was going by this paper says.
Yeah.
My bad.
Again, as the saying goes, don't kill the messenger. Yes, ma'am. Okay. At the last city commission meeting, Vice Mayor Diaz-Padrón introduced a request to remand certain ordinances that had to deal with the redevelopment of buildings along the corridors, and also about parking, about notification to property owners, live-work units that are allowed within those buildings, and off-street parking requirements for the buildings. And other requirements of parking. You have there the ordinances that have been adopted over the years regarding the construction of the buildings along the corridor, commercial corridor. And the request by the Vice Mayor is to increase the parking requirements for these buildings, while at the same time lessening the impact to the residential area in the immediate vicinity, and the notification of more folks than the 500 radius feet that are presently around any property that we notify. The ordinances that you have, if you start with the first one, which is the special use permit notice, which is 2004-03, there was actually another revision to this at a later date. This is not the most current. But the most current, the only thing that changes is from $1,200 where it shows there, it's actually at $2,000 today. This one would be the first one to tackle, I would think, if we're going to increase the notification, as the Vice Mayor requested, to either 1,000 feet, or in this case, maybe the whole city, so that there's no one that can say, I wasn't notified, or I didn't know.
Okay.
The applicant that applies for these special uses is responsible for the cost. The 2,000 covers postage, and it covers the advertisement that we have to put in the newspaper of general circulation. Today, in today's day and prices, the newspapers run about $1,000. The mailing is probably exceeding the other $1,000 at this point, because to mail a certified letter is around $545, from what I believe, per envelope. And that was another request that was made by a change in ordinance some time ago by Commissioner Blanes, where it used to be just regular mail, and now it's certified mail. So at $545, depending on how much of an area we have to notify, it could increase the cost. I was going to bring this one to you anyway, because like I said, the $2,000 is barely covering it. And it doesn't cover for any of my time spent on any of these files. So the whole purpose of the special use permit is not to put the burden of what they want to request on the city, is for them to pay the burden, and then they present the project. So this one would be one of the ones that I'm in agreement with, about increasing it in cost. Right now, the only thing that I could imagine, depending, if we stay with the 500 feet, I would recommend anywhere from $2,500 to $3,000 for the application costs. If we go further out, like 1,000 feet or the whole city, then I would imagine this cost would have to go up to $5,000 to cover for postage.
Okay, and Mr. Pena, we as a board are authorized to set a price, or is that administratively done by the city manager?
It's set by ordinance and then administered by the city.
Okay.
So the recommendation is from the commission was for you to review it, and if you're in agreement, or your opinion of how far we should go out, and then from there, the cost. I'm providing you with more or less cost of what an application entails.
And you mentioned something about parking as well?
Yeah, those are other ordinances that we'll get to.
those.
Okay.
But the notification is one of the easiest and the first that we should
Right.
address.
Mr. Peña, but you are addressing only our cost in envelopes and mail. How about manpower?
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah, I know.
At this point, it
That
doesn't.
should be considered too, because,
Correct. That's why I said if we increase the area from 500 radius feet to 1,000, then I recommend that we go from anywhere from 2,500 to 3,000 to cover the cost.
right.
And
That's my
again,
point.
it covers the administrative costs to a certain degree over the time spent on the project. Obviously, if it's a big project or something that requires a lot more time, we're not going to meet that goal of recovering all the costs.
Okay, I'm pretty sure we as a board will agree with that. We certainly don't want the city to have to absorb some of the expenses associated with notifying and posting properties, et cetera. I had a question though, on the 1,000 feet, is that what the city is proposing, notification? 1,000
They
feet?
didn't give an exact figure. They just wanted to make sure that more people
Would be notified.
were notified for these projects. And you also got to realize that this is for special use plan development and for special use permits too. So it's like the two-story home that just came up, you're increasing if we increase the area, it's going to be from 500 to 1,000 feet. So that the area knows that, and a bigger portion of the area knows that there's a second-story house being.
And Mr. Bennett, do you know what other municipalities do as far as range or feet from the proposed site?
As far as range, they stick with the state statute, which is 500 feet, radius feet. They could increase it. You could always make it stricter than the state statute. As far as cost, they range anywhere from $3,500 to $10,000, depending on where you apply.
Okay, is there any way we can, because it seems, and we're familiar with some of the issues that have been occurring, and it's obvious our elected officials want more residents to be notified of what's being proposed in their neighborhood. And I certainly do not have a problem with that, but I think 1,000 feet for a residential, like what we just saw in a pool, seems a little excessive. Is there any way this could be strictly like 1,000 feet for the commercial corridor only
You can.
and not for residential?
You can and maintain the regular 500 radius feet.
That'd be only fair, but I got a legal question to Mr. Villalobos. Do we need to do a certified mail or regular mail? We
It
should,
would be
what
cer-
the,
it
what
would
the
be
law
certified
say?
mail, sir.
Certified mail.
Yes.
The statute requires regular mail. However, years back, Commissioner Blanes requested that it be made certified mail, and they passed an ordinance to that effect. So it has to be certified mail at
Certified
this
mail.
point.
That way the city has proof and evidence that they
Yeah.
they were notified.
So I believe that then we're in agreement that if it's for the corridors, 1,000 feet, residential 500, will you agree?
I mean, I think it should, my opinion, I think it should go a little further if you're building a two-story home, because in my opinion, this neighborhood area does not, it doesn't, you don't customarily see
The-
two-story homes
The
here.
problem we have is that
Right.
They incur the
So-
cost.
they are allowed,
And they
so
also
we
incur the
cannot.
the additional cost of all the mailings, you know, so
The
it's.
person does though. So
Yeah.
if they want to do the project,
But I
No, but
think it's a little
this is-
excessive.
Yeah, I think it's
and this-
excessive for residential versus
To have to,
commercial.
yes, and the zoning code does allow it, so even if we do not, like this case that just came before us, if we deny it, it's gonna go to the commission and they're gonna probably approve it, because if they don't, and Mr. Villalobos can correct me, the city can get sued because the zoning does allow for two-story additions. Correct, Mr. Villalobos?
You know, I did not understand what you're saying because you have your mask on.
Yeah, I don't-
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me repeat that. the two-story additions are allowed by code, so unless they're asking for a variance of some sort, typically we have no other choice but to approve them because they are allowed by the zoning code.
That is correct, sir.
Is that, I'm asking like a question, if we don't, let's say, we can get sued? If
Well,
we,
anybody can get sued for anything. you know.
True,
Whether or
true.
not they're frivolous, that's another thing. If it's frivolous, there is a statute called 57105 that assesses frivolous cost to not only the applicant but also the attorney. So there are few attorneys that are willing to file a frivolous lawsuit.
okay, my question would be, or a different question, say the city or the board does not approve a two-story addition where the code requires it and they meet all the setbacks, they don't require a variance of any kind for that project like we just saw today.
I'm
If-
going to address that after the discussion this afternoon.
Okay,
I wanted to ask them for the board to be a little bit patient because I just wanted to bring you up to date in certain statutes and case law that have been coming up from the courts.
okay. Well,
So,
thank you.
so my
Mhm.
hesitation is not about the approval or not the approval. It's about notifying the
Okay,
residents in
notifying.
the area. Because as you saw, there was one person here, right, with a concern. So I think it is important to let the neighbors know what's going on. And I know that
Right.
we notify the 500 square feet, but I think it would be valuable to increase it, to let the residents of, a
I
greater
would
area
have to
know.
disagree with that. It would be a lot more work for the city staff, and it's just an undue delays for the applicant as well.
cost.
Costs as well. And the zoning code does allow it, even if somebody's upset because of the loss of, or perceived loss of privacy, and I can fully understand that, if somebody were to build a two-story next to me. But we have things that we can do as far as like the louvers and balconies or minimize balconies to help alleviate those concerns a resident has. But somebody, I believe, living 1,000 feet from a two-story addition,
Yeah, it's
really,
kinda far.
they're kind of far away. I can fully understand on a high-rise or 8-story building, that's a different issue altogether.
I want to make sure what we're looking at, because, so we're looking at 2004-03, right?
Like I stated before, 2004-03 states $1,200. There was a subsequent ordinance after that that raised it to 2,000.
2,000.
As far as the radius is,
But I don't see anything about the radius in here.
Correct,
So
because
am I
if you
reading wrong, or?
No.
Okay.
If you go to that amends a portion
Okay.
of zoning ordinance 282.
Okay.
Okay? If you go to my email that has my email cover,
This one?
okay. There, an area, the city clerk posted for you the section that deals with the radius, and if you go to the second page, the top, number 3, that's the one that deals with the 500 feet.
Oh,
Second page, top of the page.
okay.
And to respond to the chair, whether or not it would be logical to assess that burden to buildings, etc., you cannot do that. You have to have a uniform law. So whether it affects the high rise or an individual property owner,
You cannot do
you
that.
cannot do that.
Okay.
And this was approved by the commission, as I see, it was unanimously approved.
Which,
The ordinance 2004-03
back then, yes.
Yes, back then.
in 2000,
4.
okay.
Which had a $500 amount, and then it was revised to 2,000.
Later, and so, I believe it was 2009. That's not the latest version. The latest version is 2009, and it's $2,000 for both, either residential or commercial.
Okay, so we need to take a vote on this, Mr. Pena?
Well, if you want to discuss it further, or if you have your ideas right now, I could I could jot them down, sure.
Is this something that's gonna go before the commission, or it already did?
It will eventually go in an ordinance form once we get all the facts that you develop.
Okay.
Mr. Villalobos will draft an ordinance amending the latest version of that ordinance.
Yeah, I feel like we need more time to review these because we just received them right now, so.
I don't, well, maybe
I mean,
not this particular one.
There's a
maybe
lot of
some-
them, right? So I feel like it's a
Yes.
lot of documentation that we just received and,
You're acting now as a advisory capacity, so
yeah.
this is not a quasi judicial issue. I mean, you are acting as a, they have asked you to review that as a zoning board.
And that would be my next recommendation, is to take all the rest of the ordinances, read them through,
Okay,
and see how they apply, and then it gives us time also to review the request from the vice mayor as far as increasing parking requirements for commercial buildings or mixed-use apartment buildings.
okay, so you want us to then
Table these?
take this home, study it?
And it will come back at their next zoning board
Okay.
meeting. I don't know if I provided Natalie with a booklet form, but I did provide you guys with other binders.
Yes.
No, I don't have.
Okay,
If
I
you
will
could get
get,
it,
I will
yeah.
get the binder to you so you can put them all. That's why there
Yeah.
are 3-hole punch, so you can put them in the
And I
binder.
appreciate the time to review
I
these further.
returned mine to you, I think, right?
I'm sorry?
I returned mine to you.
I will have it delivered to you.
Right, okay.
Okay, then we'll go ahead and study these ordinances and the proposed ordinances at home and discuss them on our next meeting then.
And I will make sure Board Member Rio and Mr. Gonzalez, Eugenio Gonzalez, get their copies so that they can be up to date.
If you can do that, we would appreciate that.
Okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
through the chair, is there any way we can convey a message before the next commission meeting that we're reviewing these and
Sure.
that
I'll
we're
be glad to
reviewing
convey that back to the
propo-
board.
the proposed ordinances, and we will consider them at the next meeting if that's.
Okay,
I will convey
That's
that back to
appropriate.
them.
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, if there's no further questions or any?
Now I move to adjourn.
Okay, there's a motion to adjourn.
Second.
And it's been seconded, so the City of West Miami Planning and Zoning Board meeting of August 24, 2021 is now adjourned. It is 8:20 PM for the record.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to stay for a little while so I can go over certain issues that I wanted to discuss with you.